Good evening. It's 7 o'clock, and we have two meetings tonight. The first is the Cunningham Town Board, and that will be followed by the regular meeting of the Urbana City Council. I'd like to call the meeting of the Cunningham Town Board to order. Would the clerk please call the roll?
Ms. Ammons?
Here.
Mr. Brown?
Here.
Mr. Jacobson? Mr. Madigan?
Here.
Ms. Marlin? Mr. Roberts? Mr. Smythe?
Here.
Mayor Pressing?
Here. The first item is the minutes of the previous meeting. That would be for October 7th, 2013.
So moved.
Motion by Smythe, seconded by Ammons. Any additions or corrections? If not, all those in favor, please signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Those opposed? That motion carries. Next, the committee to verify bills. Michelle Mail.
November Town Fund, including October interim checks, is $49,766.41. General Assistance Fund is $44,837.98.
Any questions? Is there a motion?
I'll second.
Okay, motion by Carol Ammons, seconded by Dennis Roberts. All those in favor, please signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Those opposed? That motion carries. Reports of officers.
I do have something. Effective November 1st of this year, we adopted a new general assistance manual that went into effect on November 1st. So
Do you want to say what the differences are?
there's not a lot of differences. We were using the DHS downstate manual, which is like by the Cook County was using. They did away with townships, so there is nobody to update that manual ever, nobody to call regarding policy or anything. So we went to Township Officials of Illinois Conference and adopted their handbook when we got back from that.
Okay.
So that policy, I think, from the manual from the DHS, I think has not been updated since either 2006 or 2009. I can't remember which one, but it will never be updated again. So there's nothing to go off of and nobody to call with policy questions or anything. So.
Okay. Carol has a question.
Is the manual up on the website available for people to see the new manual?
No, it's at the office.
Will it be put up?
I could probably bring the CD over to IT and have them put it on.
I mean, in case the public wants to read it.
Right, and it's always available at our office for the public, too.
Well, it might be on the Township Officials website.
Their manual is not.
No, it isn't? No.
It should be available locally.
Well, if we have a CD of it, we can get it on the web. So if there's a CD of it, that's...
We had to pay for it, so I know it's not on their
really?
website.
Oh, really?
Yes.
That
Right.
kind of thing. Oh.
Correct.
Oh, okay, interesting.
Yeah.
A public document you had to pay for. Okay.
It's available at the township, but I can bring it over, but then it's going to have to be updated also, when we get updates from township officials, but I believe they only update it every 4 or 5 years.
Okay.
So.
All right. Any other questions for Michelle? We're at petitions and communications. Is there anyone in the audience who would like to address the Cunningham Town Board? Okay. We'll move on. Unfinished business, approval of increase of legal fees.
From
The last meeting.
month,
Yeah.
again, motion to increase compensation for township attorney to a base rate of $13.50 per month, calculated at the rate of $2.25 per hour, covering up to 6 hours, and $2.50 per month for any time in excess of 6 hours per month, effective November 1st, 2013.
Is there a motion?
So moved.
Second.
Okay, motion by Marlin.
Technically, the motion was deferred, so there's already a motion.
Oh, there's
and,
already
yeah,
a motion.
It's already on the floor.
I don't know who made that motion,
It was
but
I did, and I forget who seconded it. So
I think I did.
This was a deferred
Okay.
motion, so.
okay. Madam Clerk, we just vote on it then? All right, there's a motion on the floor. So all those in favor, please signify by saying aye.
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 Those opposed? That motion carries. Then, new business, the presentation of the fiscal 2013 audit. Do you have
That
your
is
auditor here?
complete. John and Luke are here from Kemper. I
Okay.
did email that to everyone that requested it, and if anybody has any questions after they are done, then you can ask.
I didn't.
We recently finished the audit for June 30th. As usual, we had a clean opinion on the audit. Yeah, that's a little better. Which basically says, we said the financial statements present fairly the financial position or results operation of the township. I'm going to be fairly brief. We usually don't make very many adjustments to the financial statements, but I will cover a couple of them. If you have it in front of you, that's fine, or otherwise I can just talk about it. But on page 5 is the balance sheet for the township at June 30th, which shows the cash and the fund balances of the township at that time. And at that point, the town fund had about $850,000 in cash. But of that, $267,000 has been set aside in case the Carl property tax that was paid under protest in the prior years has to be refunded. The General Assistance Fund had $862,000. Likewise, it had $215,000 had been set aside for possible repayment of the Carl property tax. Both of those leave a balance of about $593 in the town fund and $650,000 in the General Assistance Fund, which is approximately 1 year's expenditures, which wouldn't be out of line. And the other thing I think that you need to keep in mind is most of the half the property taxes have already been received in the spring of each year for the year going forward. So if you took those out, you really only have around 6 months worth of reserve funds on hand. For the year, which is on page 6, the town fund ran a deficit of right at $41,000, and the general assistance ran a deficit of right at $108,000. Part of that is reflective of the fact that this will be the first impact where Carl didn't pay their full amount of property taxes, which had initially been budgeted for $71,000, around that, and about half of that amount wouldn't have been received. That was in the budget originally, which those were the payments in the spring of the year. The other reason that the deficit for the general assistance funds is primarily the medical payments for the year exceeded what was initially budgeted by $70-some thousand. Otherwise, I'd be happy to take any questions that anybody might have.
Any questions for the outside auditor? Charlie?
I have a couple. We'll start with that last one. I know the medical stuff bounces around, and
It does.
do we have, possible reimbursements coming back from the feds on some of that? I know we've gotten different repayments on a very strange schedule from Social Security and others.
Social Security is only reimbursing the GA grant amount. We never get reimbursed for medical.
Okay.
Yeah, it's just the grant amount that the client is issuing.
Okay, so we won't get anything from Medicare or Medicaid or anything to
No.
help? No. Okay, so we're basically we're out that money.
Correct.
Yeah, okay. And then I every year I ask the same thing because I don't remember the explanation from the previous year. On page 2 of your note, you have the basis of accounting. It says, we draw attention to note 1 of the financial statements, which describes the basis of accounting. The financial statements are prepared on the modified cash basis of accounting, which is a basis of accounting other than accounting principles generally accepted in the United States of America. Our opinion is not modified with respect to that matter. And so I don't, what exactly does that mean?
Okay. Generally accepted accounting principles would require that you recognize revenue when it's earned and available and expenditures when they're incurred. Cash basis, you're going to recognize revenues when they're collected and expenditures when they're paid. In this case, there won't be a significant difference on the expenditure side. Most of your expenditures are paid promptly, so you wouldn't have a lot of extra liabilities, maybe some accrued vacation or that kind of stuff, but not very much. The biggest difference is the revenues. We'd be recognizing a whole year's worth of property, well, actually half a year's worth of property taxes that you haven't received yet if we were on the modified accrual basis. A lot of small governmental units present their financial statements on the cash basis. It probably is more reflective of how they actually operate. I mean, they don't budget the cash until they're going to receive it, so we present it that way. We just have to call attention to it in our audit report.
But it essentially comes out the same way.
Over the long term, yes, it essentially
Yeah.
comes out the same way.
Okay, thank you.
Okay.
Okay.
Any other questions? Okay, thank you very much.
Well, thank you.
Okay,
Do we need to approve this or anything, Michelle? I think we have to approve it, don't we? Or accept it?
It
Is there
says
a motion?
presentation.
We have to accept it. Move to accept the report.
Okay, motion by Charlie Smythe, seconded by Diane Marlin to accept the report. Any questions? All those in favor, please signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Those opposed? That motion carries. Okay, next we have the intergovernmental reimbursement agreement with the Department of Human Services in Cunningham Township. Michelle?
Charlie, this is the agreement that we get reimbursed from if our clients get approved for Social Security. SSI, we do not get reimbursed for disability, but if they get SSI and they are backdated and the client was on Township at that time, we total up the months and we get reimbursed for that out of their lump sum payment. So this is just renewing this agreement with DHS for that GA reimbursement.
I'd move approval of this.
I'll second.
Okay, motion by Charlie Smythe, seconded by Carol Ammons. Any discussion? All those in favor, please signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Those opposed? That motion carries. Then we have resolution number T 2013-11-004R, a resolution determining the amounts of money necessary to be raised by the tax levy for the tax year 2013 collectible in 2014. Michelle?
This is the resolution states this, that the estimate will not exceed the 5%, and the truth in taxation does not apply. So,
Okay, so you felt confident in not raising it. The Park District, I noticed, was about 13%, but you're keeping it under 5, which, thank you.
correct, 4.5.
Yeah. Okay,
Yes.
any questions for Michelle?
I'll make a motion
Okay.
to accept that report. Resolution 213.
Okay, motion by Dennis Roberts, seconded by Charlie Smythe, and Mike Madigan has a question.
So I guess my question is, what does this mean for the taxpayers of Cunningham Township?
Fred will answer.
The significance of the resolution is to determine whether a public notice has to be given in the newspaper. If the increase is more than 5%, then there has to be a public notice. It's not like in the legal section. It's a big notice, black rim
Okay.
around it.
Yeah, I'm not really interested in that. I'm wondering, in dollars and cents, what does this mean for the taxpayers of Cunningham Township? What is the difference? How much more per household?
Isn't that determined at the county? I mean, I don't know per household. I didn't,
It's not a very large amount because the township is not
Yeah,
that
but,
big a
You know,
thing.
the not very large amounts over multiple taxing bodies start to end up being a large amount. So I guess, I think it's fair to ask and I think it's fair. I think it's reasonable to expect that we know what we're doing to the average household with a tax increase.
Well, in 2012, the levy, it was $1,247,234. And with the 4.5%, it's just going to go up to $1,303,358. So,
Okay, Bill Brown?
So this resolution is just, I mean, I see this as an estimate. We aren't actually approving this levy yet. Is that right?
correct.
Okay. So there will be another resolution sometime in December or something. Where
It'll
we
be
have
in
to approve.
December. This is just saying that we do not have to comply with the truth in taxation because we're not going above 5%.
Okay. So we'll have time to figure out what it means per household.
Yeah, I haven't got to
Thanks.
that yet.
Okay.
Yeah, and if I could add,
ahead,
I
Charlie.
think typically a certain, so 4.5%, part of that reflects growth and reevaluations, and a certain amount may or may not be an increase in taxes.
Correct.
And so it'd be, when it comes back and our, we do the breakout typically when we set the city levy as well. It should reflect basically those same kinds of numbers. So it'd be good to just go ahead and say how much is new growth and how much is new taxes.
Which is how it's broke down
Yeah.
in the levy. This is just, this
Yeah.
isn't the, this is
Yeah.
just the estimate.
Yeah, just so long as.
All
we-
of that
yeah.
you will get next
Okay,
month.
Okay, great. Okay, thank you.
Mhm.
Are there any other questions or comments? Would the clerk please call the roll?
Ms. Ammons?
Yes.
Mr. Brown?
Yes.
Mr. Madigan?
No.
Ms. Marlin? Yes. Mr. Roberts?
Yes.
Mr. Smythe?
Yes.
Okay.
Okay, that motion carries. Next, we have a closed session for pending litigation. Is there a motion, Charlie?
Yeah, I move that we go into closed session to discuss pending litigation issues pursuant to 5 Illinois Consolidated Statutes 120/2C11.
A second.
Okay, there's a motion and a second to go into closed session. Would the clerk please call the roll?
Ms. Ammons?
Yes.
Mr. Brown?
Yes.
Mr. Madigan?
Yes.
Ms. Marlin?
Yes.
Mr. Roberts?
Yes.
Mr. Smythe?
Yes.
Mayor Pressing?
Yes. Thank you.
Right behind you. I move that we go back into open session.
I'll second.
Okay, motion by Charlie Smythe, seconded by Dennis Roberts to go back into open session. Would the clerk please call the roll?
Ms. Ammons?
Here.
Mr. Brown?
Here.
Mr. Madigan?
Oh, yes,
Yes.
I'm sorry.
Yes.
Oh, I'm sorry. I'm here. Yes.
Mr. Madigan?
Yes.
Ms. Marlin? Mr. Roberts?
Yes.
Here.
Mr. Smythe?
Yes.
Mayor Pressing?
Yes. Okay, we are in open session, and since there is no further business, this meeting is adjourned. Thank you all very much.